press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, so welcome to part of the chapter hydrocarbons. So in the last class we discussed the preparation and properties of alkenes. Today also I am going to continuing some properties of alkanes. So under which pyrolysis reaction, pyrolysis, or it is also called cracking of alkenes, cracking of alkanes. So what is meant by the pyrolysis or cracking of alkanes? Process of conversion of higher hydrocarbons, means higher alkanes, into lower alkanes, either by the application of heat or in the presence of a catalyst. If catalyst is used, that is catalytic cracking of alkanes. If if the temperature is maintained to decompose, to break down the higher hydrocarbons or higher alkane molecules, that is comes under thermal cracking of alkanes. So when higher in this reaction, higher alkanes converted into lower alkanes. Process of conversion of higher alkanes with the more number of carbon atoms, they are converted into lower alkanes. So in this reaction, product obtained contains one of the component. So one of the component is alkene. So if higher alkanes are decomposed, break down into lower alkanes, so the obtained alkanes which contains one of the component is an alkene. Suppose if you take methane, it is an exceptional case. So when methane, it is heated around 1000 degrees centigrade, it breaks down into carbon black and hydrogen. So or if you take ethane, CS3 bond CS3, so which is heated, so around 500 to 700 degrees centigrade, so it is decomposed into CS2 double bond CS2 plus H2 or if you take propane CS3 CS2 CS3, so it is subjected to thermal cracking. So propane is decomposed into propane to propene. So there are two types of products are possible. So one is propene CS3 CH double bond CS2. So one of the component is alkene, and along with H2. Or if the propane is subjected to thermal cracking, so it is converted into ethylene and also ethane, CS3 bond CS3. Sorry, methane, not ethane, methane. Suppose if butane is used, so butane is decomposed into 1 butene, 2 butene, propene and methane, ethene and ethane. Clear? So process of conversion of higher alkanes into lower alkanes. So lower, not alkanes, lower ones. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಕೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರಬಹುದು ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಕೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ದಿ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ obtained which contains one of the component is alkene. So in this case, this is the propane, higher alkene, methane is the lower alkene. So propane to hydrogen and propene. So but if long chain higher alkenes are used, so we get the smaller or the alkenes obtained which contains less number of carbon atoms. So if you take butane, so look here, when butane is subjected to thermal cracking, so butane CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. So N-butane, is subjected to thermal cracking. So look here, higher alkanes are converted into lower alkanes. So one is butene, CH3, CH2, CH, double bond CH2 plus H2. This is the possible products. So one butene, and so two butene, CH3CH, double bond CH, CH3 plus H2. This is two butene, and when it is decomposed to form propene and methane, CH3 CH, double bond CH2 plus CH4, or it gives ethylene CH2 double bond CH2 plus CH3 bond CH3. Clear? ನೋಡಿ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, this is one butene, two butene, so here propene, so ethene and ethane. So that is why cracking means decomposition, breakdown of higher hydrocarbons into lower hydrocarbons in general. So ನೀವು alkanes ಅನ್ನು ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ higher hydrocarbons, so these are the higher hydrocarbons are decomposed. So these are all, so except butenes, so propene and ethane, these are the lower hydrocarbons. So this is about cracking of alkanes, process of conversion of higher hydrocarbons into lower hydrocarbons. They obtained hydrocarbons which contains one of the component is alkene, butene, propene, ethane. So one of the component is alkene. Clear? So this is one more property. Then another property is aromatization of alkanes. Aromatization. So what is meant by an aromatization? Isomerization means formation of isomers. Aromatization means formation of aromatic compounds. Alkanes containing 6 or more carbon atoms. Alkanes, it is heated with chromium trioxide Cr2O3 in the presence of so heated with, so on heating with chromium trioxide in the presence of aluminum Al2O3, the alkanes undergoes aromatization. Aromatization gives aromatic compounds. alkanes are converted into aromatic compounds. So, see the simple ways. So, alkanes are converted into alkenes Cr2O3 in the presence of alumina. So, around 500 degrees centigrade. So, the alkane containing 6 or more carbon atoms. Alkanes containing 6 carbon atoms or more than 6 carbon atoms on heating with chromium trioxide alumina. So, this alkanes undergoes aromatization to form aromatic compound. Aromatic compound. So, this reaction is called aromatization reaction. Conversion of higher alkanes into aromatic compounds by using a catalyst. So, oxides of chromium or oxides of molybdenum supported on alumina, N-hexane, CH3, CH2, 4 times CH3. So, this is N-hexane. So, when N-hexane is heated as in the presence of chromium trioxide and alumina, N-hexane undergoes aromatization to form benzene. To form benzene along with hydrogen. So, number of hydrogen atoms 8 plus 6 14. So, here 4H2. 6 hydrogen atoms plus 8 hydrogen atoms, 14 hydrogen atoms. Here also 14 hydrogen atoms. Or if we take N-heptane, CH3, CH2, 5 times CS3. This is N-heptane. N-heptane. This N-heptane is heated in the presence of chromium trioxide and alumina. It also undergoes aromatization to form toluene. C6H5 CS3. Toluene and hydrogen. So, number of hydrogen atoms. So, 5 plus 3 8. So, here 10 plus 6 16. So, here 12 hydrogen atoms 6H2. Clear? 6 into 12, 12 plus 5, 17 plus 3 20. So, 5 into 2 10 plus 16. So, 8. So, totally 16 hydrogen atoms. So, here 5 plus 3 8. So, 4H2. Clear? So, process of conversion of alkanes to aromatic compounds, the process is called aromatization. So, this is about properties of alkanes. And also we know that in the previous classes we told the isomerism, alkanes undergoes conformational isomerism, alkenes undergoes configurational isomerism. So, isomerism that is broadly divided into two types, structural and stereoisomerism. In structural isomerism, chain isomerism, position, functional, tautomerism, metamerism, clear? And also in stereoisomerism, so it is of two types, optical isomerism and geometrical isomerism. That is, geometrical isomerism means configurational isomerism, configurational and conformational isomerism. But alkanes, they undergoes conformational isomerism. So, free rotation of the groups over the carbon-carbon single bond axis without breaking of any bonds, that is conformational isomerism. So, conformational isomerism. So, configurational configurational isomerism, it is observed in alkenes. In alkenes. Conformational isomerism, it is observed in alkanes. So in case of breaking of bonds inward, so breaking of bonds inward, so here no breaking of bonds, free rotation is possible. So here it is the restricted rotation of the groups over the carbon-carbon double bond axis. But here free rotation of the groups over carbon-carbon single bond axis. So that is why the conformational isomers, conversion of one conformer into another conformer, this is possible only at room temperature. So it occurs at room temperature. So the configurational isomerism, it occurs at high temperature. So high temperature. So because the one configurational isomer means cis isomer is converted into trans isomer. That is possible by breaking of one pi bond that requires some amount of energy. So that is why the configurational isomerism it does not occur at room temperature, it occurs only at high temperature. So this is the major difference between the conformational and configurational isomerism. So it is observed in alkanes, So here free rotation of the groups or atoms over the carbon-carbon single bond axis. So here restricted rotation of the groups over the carbon-carbon double bond axis. So here because of free rotation, it occurs at room temperature. So due to restricted rotation, it occurs at high temperature. Clear? So ಇದನ್ನ ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸೊ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರೇಷನಲ್ ಐಸೋಮರಿಸಮ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನಲ್ ಐಸೋಮರಿಸಮ್. So what is meant by the conformational isomerism? So two or more isomers have the same molecular and structural formula, but they are interchanged. They are converted from one form to another over a single bond. So over a single bond axis. So here no breaking of bonds, hence free rotation of the groups over the carbon-carbon single bond axis. So look here, suppose if we take ethane, so nodil observe madre. So these are the three hydrogen atoms. So look here, this is ethane. So in this case, so look at the one carbon atom, the exactly behind the other carbon atom and all the groups behind with one another. So ನಾವು ಹೀಗೆ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಹೀಗೆ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ so the atoms or groups over one carbon atom exactly behind the atoms or groups over the other carbon atom. Then if it undergoes a free rotation around 60 degree, so ಅಗರ free rotation 60 degree ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗಬಹುದು ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ so the spatial arrangements of the groups over this carbon-carbon single bond axis is changed due to free rotation of the groups over the carbon-carbon single bond axis. So to form C, so it is as it is, it remains as, and these atoms over this behind the carbon atom, so rotation, so the spatial arrangements of these three hydrogen atoms over this carbon atom is changed. So in this case we get C here H, H, H. It is like this. So these are the two conformers. So in this conformer, hydrogen atoms of one carbon atom, they lies exactly behind the hydrogen atoms of the other carbon atoms. So ಈಗ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಓವರ್ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. So this is called eclipse. This is eclipsed. This is staggered. This is eclipsed form of ethane. This is staggered form of ethane. So in this case, so look here, these two hydrogen atoms are far apart from each other. And again, these two hydrogen atoms, these are also far apart from each other. These two hydrogen atoms are far apart from each other. The hydrogen atoms of one carbon atoms, they are arranged as far as apart from each other from the hydrogen atoms of the other carbon atoms in a molecule. That is called staggered form. ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದರ ಹಿಂಬದಿನ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ that is eclipsed. Suppose if the hydrogen atoms of one carbon atom so arranged as far as apart from each other from other hydrogen atoms in the another carbon atom in the same molecule, then that is staggered conformation. Or this can also be done like this. So this is the Newman projection formula. So here H, H, H. And other hydrogen atoms exactly behind with one another. So here also like this. Here also like this. This is eclipsed. Eclipsed. So around 60-degree rotation. So free rotation of the groups. ನೋಡಿ ಇದು ಫ್ರಂಟ್ 3 ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇದರ ಹಿಂಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಒನ್ ಅದರ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ eclipse. Then if it undergoes free rotation of the groups over the carbon-carbon single bond axis, and this occurs at normal temperature, so because the one conformer is changed to other without the breaking of any covalent bonds, so therefore in this case we get H, 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 then it is like this. H, H, H. This is the staggered form. This is the eclipsed form. So in general, alkanes, they involves conformational isomerism. Conformational isomerism can be observed only in case of alkanes. In alkanes, groups over the carbon-carbon single bond axis, free rotation of the groups, free rotation of the atoms over the carbon-carbon single bond axis is possible. And because of free rotation, there is no breaking of any covalent bonds. So hence it involves free rotation. But in case of geometrical isomerism, so that can be observed in case of carbon-carbon double bond means alkenes. If pi bond breaks, then only the one isomer, cis isomer, is changed to trans isomer. So then ನಾವು next alkenes discuss ಮಾಡೋಣ. Clear? So this is all about alkanes. Then coming to the another concept, alkenes. So what are alkenes? What are alkenes? Alkenes are the unsaturated hydrocarbons containing one carbon-carbon double bond. So these are unsaturated, so which contains one carbon-carbon double bond. They are represented by the general formula CnH2n. They are more reactive when compared to alkanes, and these compounds may be substituted or not. Clear? And in alkenes, so double bonded carbon is sp2 hybridized. Then this sp2 hybridizer carbon is more electronegative, more electronegative. negative, so that it would attract electrophiles. Hence, alkenes undergoes electrophilic addition reactions. Clear? Then what are the general methods of preparation of alkenes? So general methods of preparation of alkenes. General methods of preparation of alkenes. So among which first method, from alcohols using alumina or mineral acids like H2SO4. So here alumina and also a mineral acid like sulfuric acid, just like they are dehydrating agents. So alcohols gets dehydrated to form alkenes. So alcohols. So look here, general reaction. So alcohols on heating with either alumina or with concentrated sulfuric acid, it undergoes, so this is alcohol, it undergoes dehydration. It eliminates a molecule of water to form C double bond C. This is alkene with the elimination of water molecule. Is clear? So when ethanol CH3 CH2 OH, so when it is heated with alumina, so around 620 Kelvin, it undergoes dehydration to form ethylene, CS2 double bond, CS2 plus H2. So in general, if we take any alcohols, monohydric, dihydric or trihydric alcohols, in general monohydric alcohols, particularly tertiary alcohols, are easily dehydrated than secondary than primary. Hence, when monohydric alcohols on heating with either alumina or with constant sulfuric acid, acidic dehydration, or by using alumina as catalyst, so alcohols undergoes dehydration. It loses a molecule of water. So here, so this is the alpha carbon, this is beta carbon atom. So hydrogen from beta carbon and OH from alpha hydrogen, that is eliminated as water to form ethene. So ethanol is converted into ethene. It means that alcohol is dehydrated to form alkene. Or if the instead of alumina, if concentrated sulfuric acid is used, so look here, when ethanol, so by using concentrated sulfuric acid, ethanol CH3 CH2 OH, so when it is heated with concentrated sulfuric acid S2SO4 at 440 Kelvin, it undergoes dehydration to form ethene, CS2 double bond CS2 plus H2. Or if isopropyl alcohol is used, CS3 CHOH CS3, so this is the 2-degree alcohol, this is primary alcohol, 1-degree alcohol. So when it is heated with concentrated sulfuric acid at 373 Kelvin, so look at the temperature involved in this reaction. If ethanol 1 degree alcohol is used. So in both the cases, sulfuric acid is used as a dehydrating agent, but the temperature maintained here is low. So lower the temperature required for the reaction, that is the more reactive. So by comparing primary alcohols and secondary alcohols are easily dehydrated because this reaction occurs at lower temperature. Lower the temperature required, faster is the rate of reaction. So in this case, we get propene, CS3CH, double bond CS2 plus H2. Or if we take tertiary butyl alcohol, that is the 3 degree alcohol. So tertiary butyl alcohol on heating with concentrated sulfuric acid. So 3 degree alcohol, it also undergoes dehydration at 363 Kelvin. So here when compared to the dehydration of secondary alcohols, tertiary alcohols also undergoes dehydration at low temperature. So therefore, tertiary alcohols are more reactive than secondary than primary. This is the order of reactivity of alcohols during dehydration reactions. So in this case, we get butylene, CS3C, double bond CS2, CH3. So here one OH and one H from this carbon atom eliminated as water. So H2O. So this is isobutylene or 2-methyl 1-butene. So 2-methyl propene. So 1, 2, 3, 2-methyl 1-propene or isobutylene. So from these reactions, it is clear that from these reactions, so it is clear that. So what are the conclusion could be drawn by considering these three reactions? ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾಗರೆ ನೋಡಿ, primary alcohols undergoes dehydration at higher temperature. Secondary alcohols, they undergoes dehydration at lower temperature when compared to the temperature required for the dehydration of primary alcohols. Or when tertiary alcohols are subjected to dehydration still at lower temperature. So therefore, the dehydration of tertiary alcohol is faster than secondary than primary. So therefore, by considering these three reactions, so what are the conclusion could be drawn? So from these reactions, it is clear that the order of reactivity of alcohols towards dehydration reaction is, so 3 degree alcohols are more reactive than 2 degree, which are more reactive than 1 degree. So this is the important statement for competitive examinations. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ preparation of alkenes starting from monohydric alcohols by using either alumina as dehydrating agent or sulfuric acid as dehydrating agent. Next, second method, from alkyl halides by dehydrohallucination. From alkyl halides, second method, from alkyl halides. So I think these reactions are familiar in the second year haloalkanes. So by dehydrohallucination method, So dehydrohallucinating agents are so one is alcoholic potassium hydroxide or sodamide or sodaamide. So NaNH2. So NaNH2. Sodamide. NaNH2. So these are the two dehydrohalogenating agents. So when alkyl halides on heating with either alcoholic potassium hydroxide solution or on heating with sodamide, alkyl halides undergoes dehydrohalogenation. So dehydrohalogenation takes place according to Saint-Jeff's rule. So in dehydrohalogenation reactions, more substituted alkenes are formed. So which are more stable. Due to hyperconjugation. So because of more number of hyperconjugative structures are due to positive inductive effect. So are also due to positive inductive effect. Clear? So the obtained alkenes are more stable. It is due to either positive inductive effect or due to the formation of more number of hyperconjugative structures. So illiga dehydrohalogenation text ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕೇನೋ dehydrohalogenating agents are either alcoholic KOH or sodamide is used. So these are the two dehydrohalogenating agents. So when alkyl halides are heating with such kinds of reagents, so alkyl halides undergoes dehydrohalogenation. So it is also called beta elimination. So in this reaction, so the Saint-Jeff rule is involved. So Saint-Jeff rule states that during dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halides, hydrogen atom must be eliminated from beta carbon, which carries least number of hydrogen. Hydrogen atom must be eliminated from beta carbon, which carries less number of hydrogen. That results in the formation of more substituted alkenes. So more substituted alkenes which are more stable. So alkenes ಏನು ಬರ್ತವೆ, so more stable ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. More stable alkenes ಅಂದ್ರೆ more substituted alkenes. So why more substituted alkenes are more stable? Because of the formation of more number of hyperconjugative structures. Clear? So for example, if you take CH3 or in general or CH2X. So halogen atom attached to the carbonate is alpha, and the carbon atom which is attached to another carbon, alpha carbon atom, is beta. So here beta elimination, beta hydrogen atom must be eliminated, and this hydrogen takes up halogen and eliminated as HX. Then HX combines with alcoholic KOH. So finally alkene is obtained. So this hydrogen atom is eliminated. So bonding electrons are comes over here. At the same time, this X minus, so which combines with K plus and OH minus. H plus combines with OH minus and to form water. We get alkene or CH double bond CH2 plus KX plus H2. So this is alkene. Suppose if secondary alkyl halide is used. ನೋಡಿ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಡ್ ಅದ Saint-Jeff rule. So during dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halides, hydrogen atom must be eliminated from beta carbon. So look here, so if secondary alkyl halides are used, CH3 CHX or CH3Br bond CH2 CH3. This is an example for secondary alkyl halide. So halogen atom attached to the carbon atom is alpha. The carbon atoms attached to the alpha carbon atoms are beta. There are two beta carbon atoms. But one of the beta carbon atom, beta dash, which carries only two hydrogen atoms. So if this hydrogen atom is eliminated, in that case we get only the more substituted alkene. So when it is heated with alcoholic potassium hydroxide solution, alcoholic KOH, two products are possible. So if hydrogen atom from the beta carbon which carries more number of hydrogens, if this hydrogen atom is eliminated, so we get one butene, CH2, double bond CH, single bond CH2, CS3. So this is one butene. So one butene is minor product. This content during the reaction is very much less. And the other possible product is if the hydrogen atom eliminated from beta carbon which carries less number of hydrogen, in that case we get 2 butene, CH3, CH, double bond CH, CS3. So this is 2 butene. So 2 butene is the more substituted alkene because two double bonded carbon atoms carries two methyl groups. Hence it is more substituted, it is the major product, and also it is more stable because it can form more number of hyperconjugative structures. 6 hyperconjugative structures are possible. So the reason is not essentially carbon double bond. So ಈ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಆಲ್ಫಾ ಇದು ಆಲ್ಫಾ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಫಾ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಅಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ 6 ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇದಾವೆ. So that is why it can form 6 hyperconjugative structures. So if the alkene form more number of hyperconjugative structures, such alkenes are more stable. Or in other words, so if the more substituted alkenes, so if the alkene is more substituted, then such alkenes are more stable. Clear? So this is about dehydrohalogenation of all alkyl halides gives alkenes. Clear? So this is the second method. Then third method is from vicinal or geminal dihalides. Preparation of alkenes. Preparation of alkenes from vicinal or geminal dihalides. Third method from vicinal or gem dihalides. So what is meant by vicinal dihalide? If two halogen atoms, particularly two same kind of halogen atoms, are attached to adjacent carbon atoms in a molecule, then that is vicinal dihalide. If two similar or same kind of halogen atoms are attached to same carbon, then they are called geminal dihalides or gem dihalides. So starting from vicinal or geminal dihalides, so how is alkene prepared? So when vicinal or geminal dihalides, so or CHX, CH2X. So this is the vicinal dihalide. Vicinal dihalide. When it is heated with zinc, in this reaction there is an elimination of halogen. Hence the reaction is dehalogenation. Dehalogenation means removal of halogen from dihalogen derivatives of alkanes. In dihalogen derivatives of alkanes, if two same kind of halogen atoms are on the adjacent carbon atoms, then they are vicinal dihalides. So vicinal dihalides on heating with zinc, this zinc takes up two halogen atoms and eliminated as zinc halide to form alkene or CH double bond CH2 plus ZnX2. So this is an alkene. Suppose if geminal dihalide is used, or CHX2 or CHX2, It reacts with zinc. Again, it involves another molecule of geminal dihalide to form. So it involves 2 moles of zinc. So zinc takes up 4 halogen atoms and eliminated as 2 moles of zinc halides to form RCH double bond CH. So RCH double bond CH R plus 2 to ZnX2 to ZnX2. So this is also alkene. So among vicinal and geminal dihalides, so which one of the following dihalides gives the stable alkene anta? Which one of the following alkyl halide gives more stable alkene? So geminal dihalides gives more stable alkenes because these alkenes are more substituted. In both the cases. So this is the geminal dihalide or gem dihalide. So when gem dihalides on heating with zinc to form more subdued alkene, vicinal dihalides on heating with zinc to form less substituted alkene. So this is about the preparation of alkenes starting from vicinal and geminal dihalides. Vicinal and geminal dihalides. Clear? So nodile. So idu very important reactions. So idana ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ dehallucination reaction ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Dehallucination reactions. Clear? Then third method is from partial hydrogenation of alkynes or controlled hydrogenation of alkynes. Third method, from alkynes by controlled hydrogenation. Fourth method, from alkynes by controlled hydrogenation. Starting from alkynes, we know that in general, so look here, alkynes are C triple bond Cr when it is subjected to hydrogenation in the presence of platinum or palladium, platinum or nickel. In this reaction, alkynes hydrogenated to form alkenes. So this is alkene. So further, it is hydrogenation. It also undergoes hydrogenation to form R. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. ಸೊ ಬಂದಿರೋ ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪುನಃ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನೇಷನ್ ಅದಾಗ ಏನು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ 2 hydrogen atoms ಇದೆ, 1 molecule of hydrogen ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1 hydrogen atom can form a bond with this carbon and other hydrogen atom with other carbon. So triple bond that is reduced to double bond, which means alkynes are converted into alkenes. But the reaction is not stopped at this stage, since we know that this is most reactive. So the palladium, platinum, nickel, they absorb hydrogen gas to a larger extent. So due to more absorption of hydrogen on its surface by either platinum, palladium or nickel, so reaction further continues. We get the final compound RCH2 CH2R. So this is alkane. So alkynes are reduced to alkenes. Alkenes are further reduced to alkanes. Clear? So in this case, it is subjected to controlled hydrogenation. So ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಪಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ನಿಲ್ಲಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಇದು ಫರ್ದರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಬಾರದು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಟಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ನ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ, ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ by using first one, by using Lindlar's catalyst, by using Lindlar's catalyst. So it is a mixture of palladium supported on barium sulfate, and it is slightly poisoned by using sulfur or quinoline. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪೆಲೇಡಿಯಂನ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿಯನ್ನ ನೀವು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆರ್ ಕ್ವಿನಾಲಿನ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್. ಕ್ವಿನಾಲಿನ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್, ನೋ ಫರ್ದರ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. So palladized barium sulfate, it is slightly poisoned by using sulfur or quinoline. So this is the Lindlar's catalyst. So alkynes, RC triple bond CR, it is subjected to hydrogenation in the presence of palladium supported on barium sulfate, and by it is slightly poisoned by using sulfur. In this case we get cis alkenes. In this case we get cis alkenes. C double bond C. So 2 alkyl groups are on the same side. So this is cis alkene. So in which of the following reducing agents forms cis compounds, cis alkenes? That is Lindlar's catalyst. Lindlar's catalyst is partially deactivated palladium palladized barium sulfate. Partially deactivated palladized barium sulfate. So in this case we get only cis alkenes. Or if we take butane, CH3C triple bond CCS3. So this is 2-butane. So when it is subjected to hydrogenation in the presence of palladium supported on barium sulfate, and it is deactivated by using sulfur or quinoline, it undergoes addition reaction to form cis 2-butene. So HHCS3CS3. So this is cis 2-butene. Cis 2-butene. Lindlar's catalyst is a mixture of palladium deposited on either barium sulfate or calcium carbonate. So either barium sulfate or calcium carbonate. So among these two, so one of the chemical substances used in the hydrogenation of alkynes. No further reaction takes place because the palladium, the activity of palladium is deactivated. It is reduced by using sulfur or quinol. Clear? So this is one. Suppose if you want to prepare trans compounds, then sodium metal in liquid ammonia is used. So this is one condition. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ಪೆಲೇಡೈಸ್ಡ್ ಬೇರಿಯಂ ಸಲ್ಫೇಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಪೆಲೇಡಿಯಂ, ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ನಿಕಲ್, ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟಿನಮ್ ಇವನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಆಲ್ಕೇನ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಮಗಿಲ್ಲ ಆಲ್ಕೇನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವು? Lindlar's catalyst. So another catalyst by using sodium in liquid ammonia is also preferred to prepare alkenes from alkynes. Second one, by using sodium in liquid ammonia. Sodium in liquid ammonia. So in this case we get the trans alkenes are formed. So when RC or if directly butane to butane, it reacts with hydrogen in the presence of sodium in liquid ammonia. Sodium in liquid ammonia to form trans alkenes. C double bond C. So here H CS3, here CH3, so here H, here also H. This is trans 2-butene. Trans alkenes are formed. No further reaction takes place. Trans alkenes are prepared by the catalytic hydrogenation, by the hydrogenation of alkynes using sodium in liquid ammonia. Cis alkenes are prepared by the hydrogenation of alkynes with Lindlar's catalyst. With Lindlar's catalyst. So here, during hydrogenation reactions, some amount of it is liberated. Some amount of it is liberated, that is called heat of hydrogenation. So ಅದನ್ನ properties of alkenes ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಹೇಳೋಣ. Clear? So fourth method is from alkynes by controlled hydrogenation reaction. Then another one is by using um, salts of sodium or potassium salts of dicarboxylic acids. Fifth method from or by coal-based electrolytic method. Another one is fifth method by coal-based electrolytic method. Electrolysis of aqueous solutions of potassium or sodium salts of dicarboxylic acids gives alkenes. So look here, electrolysis of aqueous solution of saturated aqueous solution of sodium or potassium salts of saturated dicarboxylic acids gives alkenes. So in the previous method, in case of the preparation of alkenes, coal-based electrolytic method, both alkanes as well as alkenes prepared. Alkenes are obtained by the electrolysis of sodium or potassium salts of saturated solutions of monocarboxylic acids. But alkenes are prepared by the electrolysis of an aqueous solution of sodium or potassium salts of saturated dicarboxylic acids gives alkenes. So look here, CH2COONA, CH2COONA, sodium salt of succinic acid. So this is sodium salt of succinic acid, succinic acid. So it is subjected to electrolysis. So look here, this CO2 eliminated, then Na, which combines with so here aqueous solution is used. Na, so the salts minus anions move towards anode. So at anode, so we get CH2 double bond CH2 plus 2CO2. So these are the anodic products. Ethylene is formed at anode. And cathodic products, Na plus move towards cathode to form sodium metal. Sodium metal reacts with water, sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. Same products. So NaOH and H2. So these are the cathodic products. So during coal-based electrolytic methods, the cathodic products are sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. Anodic products are either alkanes and CO2. If saturated monocarboxylic acid, salts of monocarboxylic acids are used, we get alkanes. But saturated dicarboxylic acid solutions are used, salts of dicarboxylic acids are used. In this case, we get alkenes. So these are all the general methods of preparation of alkenes. Nodagare, coal-based electrolytic method that is used for the preparation of both alkanes and alkenes. So either by using the controlled hydrogenation of alkynes, we get alkenes. So when it is subjected to complete hydrogenation of alkynes using nickel, nickel, platinum or palladium, we get alkenes. Clear? Next. So physical properties. Physical properties of alkenes. Physical properties. Physical properties of alkenes. First one, they are colorless and no characteristic odor. So alkenes are colorless. Alkenes are colorless and no characteristic odor. So okay, ತನ್ನದೇ ಆಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ ಓಡರ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ತನ್ನದೇ ಆಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಓಡರ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Clear? Then second one is lower members of alkenes or gases. Usually ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ alkenes with C1 to C4 are gases. C5 to C17 are liquids. C5 to C17 are liquids. Higher alkenes are solids. Higher alkenes are solids. Clear? Alkenes containing 1 to 4 carbon atoms are gases. Alkenes containing 5 to 17 carbon atoms are in liquid state. And alkenes containing above 17 carbon atoms. Higher alkenes means alkenes containing above C17 are solids. Then third point is these are insoluble in water. Insoluble in water and soluble in organic solvents. Soluble in organic solvents. Clear? Then fourth point is boiling points and melting points increases with increase in molecular mass. With increase in molecular mass. Clear? Then point number 5, boiling point of alkenes. Straight chain alkenes have higher boiling points. Among isomeric alkenes, as branching increases, boiling point decreases. So boiling points of alkenes. So boiling points of alkenes higher than that of alkanes. So reason is alkenes containing polarizable pi bond, so that the intermolecular interactions are strong. So boiling point of alkenes higher than that of alkenes because of strong intermolecular interactions. Strong intermolecular interactions due to easily polarizable pi bond. Due to easily polarizable pi bond. ನೋಡಿ pi bond ಏನಿದೆ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಪೋಲರೈಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. So that is why the intermolecular interactions are strong in case of alkenes when compared to alkanes. So that is why alkenes have higher boiling points than alkanes. Then another point is 6th point. Among isomeric alkenes, boiling point as branching increases, boiling point decreases. Among isomeric alkenes, as branching increases, boiling point decreases. So these are some physical properties of alkenes. So look here. So generally alkenes are colorless and no characteristic odor. Lower members of alkenes means alkenes containing 1 to 4 carbon atoms are gases, and alkenes containing 5 to 7 carbon atoms are liquids. 5 to 15 carbon atoms in the alkenes, they exist as liquids, and alkenes with more than 17 carbon atoms, they are solids. Clear? And then there is a regular trend in their boiling point and melting points. So we know that alkanes are nonpolar, they are also insoluble in water. Similarly, alkenes are also nonpolar. That is why they are also insoluble in water. They do not form hydrogen bonding with water. That is why alkenes are insoluble in water. They have no hydrogen bonding with water and soluble in organic solvents. Boiling point and melting points, there is a regular trend, which means that as the molecular mass increases, the boiling points and melting points are also increases. Boiling points of alkenes are always higher than that of alkanes. The reason is alkenes containing easily polarizable pi bond. Because of the presence of easily polarizable pi bond, there is a strong intermolecular interactions among the alkene molecules, so that alkenes have higher boiling points than alkanes. Clear? Then among isomeric alkenes, ಈಗ one butene ಇದೆ, butene ಅದನ್ನ isobutene ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ butene has higher boiling point, isobutene has lower boiling point. So as the number of branches increases, boiling point decreases. So therefore, in case of isomeric alkenes, as branching increases, boiling point decreases. Clear? Then properties of alkenes. Alkenes are more reactive than chemical properties. Chemical properties of alkenes. So first point is alkenes. Alkenes are more reactive than alkanes. Alkenes are more reactive than alkanes. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ reason ಏನಂದ್ರೆ due to the presence of pi bond. So in case of pi bond formation, ನೋಡಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ pi bond formation ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ pi electrons in case of alkenes, they are far from carbon nuclei. So reason is they are more reactive. So alkenes are more reactive than alkanes because so one is pi electrons, pi bonding electrons. So pi electrons are pi electrons are far from the nuclei of carbon atoms, so that these electrons are not firmly bound by those carbon atoms, bound by them. So which means loosely bonding electrons in case of alkenes. Then another point is pi bond is weaker than sigma bond. Second point, pi bond is weaker than sigma bond. And then during hydrogenation reactions, so another point is less substituted alkenes are more reactive than more substituted alkenes. Less substituted alkenes are more reactive than more substituted alkenes. Then another point is reactivity is directly proportional to the hydrogenation. More the hydrogenation, more is the reactivity of alkenes. More the hydrogenation, more the heat of hydrogenation. More the heat of hydrogenation. So what is meant by the heat of hydrogenation? During addition of hydrogen to alkene, some amount of energy is liberated. So that is called heat of hydrogenation. More the heat of hydrogenation, more is its reactivity. More is the reactivity of alkenes. More is the reactivity of alkenes. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಒಂದು ಆಲ್ಕೀನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೀಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಲಿಬರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನೇಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೀಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೋ ಆ ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಇಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಟು ಹೀಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನೇಷನ್. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಲಿಬರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? And then the reactivity is inversely proportional to its stability. More the stable alkenes, they are less reactive. So less substituted alkenes are more reactive. More substituted alkenes are less reactive. Clear? So idu reactivity of alkenes ge sambandhirtakkantadu. Then what are the chemical properties of alkenes? Hagadre ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್, ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್, ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಹ್ಯಾಲೋಜನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಲೈಡ್ಸ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್. So first property, addition reactions. So first one, addition of hydrogen, addition of H2. Alkenes or CH double bond CH2, it undergoes addition reaction with hydrogen to form RCH2 CH3 plus x kilojoules of heat. During the hydrogenation of alkenes, some amount of energy is liberated. This liberated energy, so this liberated energy is called, this liberated energy is called heat of hydrogenation. Heat of hydrogenation. So any alkene, it is subjected to hydrogenation to form alkanes with the liberation of some amount of heat. So more the amount of heat liberated during hydrogenation reactions, faster is the reactivity of alkenes. So ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ alkenes ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ height of hydrogenation ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳಬಹುದು ನಾವು. If more amount of heat is liberated, faster is the reactivity of alkene. Less amount of heat is liberated, lesser will be the reactivity of alkene. Then so alkenes are hydrogenated to form alkanes. Alkenes to alkanes. Then second property is addition of halogens. Addition of halogens. Alkenes or CH double bond CH2. This is an alkene. It reacts with halogen in the presence of carbon tetrachloride. So one of the halogen atom can form a bond with one double bond carbon, and other halogen atom can form a bond with other double bonded carbon atom to form RCH X CH2X. So these are called vicinal dihalides. Vicinal dihalides. So when alkenes undergoes addition reacts with halogen to form vicinal dihalides. Then the third property, addition of hydrogen halides. Addition of hydrogen halides. Alkenes or CH double bond CH2, which reacts with hydrogen halides. So in the absence of peroxide, so the reaction follows Markovnikov-Sul type addition reaction. This leads to the formation of secondary alkyl halides or CHX-CH3. So this is 2-degree haloalkane. Addition of hydrogen halides across the carbon-carbon double bond. See, alkene is unsymmetrical alkene. Unsymmetrical alkenes undergoes addition reaction with hydrogen halides in the absence of peroxide catalyst. The reaction which involves electrophilic addition reactions. Electrophilic addition reactions. So Markovnikov-Sul, the mechanism of Markovnikov-Sul that involves electrophilic addition mechanism. So in this case, so why the secondary alkyl halides are more stable and they are the major products? The reason is more the stable reaction intermediate formed, faster is the rate of reaction. The intermediate species in this reactions are carbocations. So intermediate species are carbocations. So we know that 3-degree carbocation, tertiary carbocation is more stable than secondary carbocation, which is more stable than primary carbocation. So that is why in this case both primary alkyl halides and secondary alkyl halides are formed, but among primary and secondary alkyl halides are the major products, because secondary carbocation formed in this reaction is more stable. More the stable reaction intermediates form, faster is the rate of reaction. Clear? So addition of hydrogen halide to unsymmetrical alkenes follows Markovnikov rule. Similarly, so if the reaction involving anti-Markovnikov rule, the same alkene RCH double bond CH2, which reacts with hydrogen halides in the presence of peroxide catalyst. In the presence of peroxide catalyst, the halogen atom can form a bond with double bonded carbon atom carries more number of hydrogen. But in case of Markovnikov's rule, I think you are all familiar with the statement of Markovnikov's rule. So negative part of the reagent adds on to the double bonded carbon which carries less number of hydrogen. ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, so in this reaction the intermediate species are carbocations. Secondary carbocation formed which is more stable, that is readily attacked by a nucleophile, that results in the formation of secondary haloalkanes or secondary alkyl halides. But in case of addition of hydrogen halide to alkenes in the presence of peroxide catalyst, so the reaction involving free radical addition mechanism, free radical addition reaction, free radical addition reaction. Clear? So in this reaction, so we get both the products are formed, so primary and secondary alkyl halides, but here these primary alkyl halides are more reactive, more stable, or CH2X, this is according to anti-Markovnikov rule. So this is the 1 degree alkyl halide, so this is the major compound according to Markovnikov rule. Clear? So this is about addition reactions of alkenes, addition of hydrogen, addition of halogen, and addition of hydrogen halides. Clear? Next, second property, combustion of alkenes. Second property is combustion of alkenes. So alkenes burnt in excess of oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. So if you consider ethylene or in general alkene CnH2n, alkene burnt in excess of oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. So how many number of moles of oxygen required for the complete combustion of alkene? So look here, n number of carbon atoms are there, here n moles of CO2 and hydrogen 2n moles, so here 2 is there, so n moles of H2O. Then how many number of moles of oxygen involved? So in this case oxygen 2n mole plus 1n mole, 3n moles, but 3n moles, this reaction if it is divided by 2, then only we will get 3n by 2 moles. So 3n by 2 into 2 means 2 to cancel each other, we get 3n, here 2n plus 1n, 3n. Hence 1 mole of alkene requires so 3n by 2 moles of O2 for complete combustion. ನೋಡಿ 1 mole alkene ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಬರ್ನ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಇಗ್ನೈಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ 3n divided by 2, so 1.5 n times n moles of oxygen required for the complete combustion of 1 mole of alkene. Clear? Then another one is very important reaction, Ozonolysis of alkenes. Third property. Ozonolysis of alkenes. Third one. Ozonolysis of alkenes. When alkenes, it is treated with ozone to form the respective ozonides, which on heating with water and zinc, finally we get carbonyl compounds. Carbonyl compounds. Or CH double bond CH2. So when it is treated with ozone to form RC, so here O CH2, then one oxygen. It is like this. This is called ozonide. Ozonide. So ozonides on heating with water and zinc and H2O. So the bond breaks occurs like this. So here RCH, RCH, it is like this. This is ozonide. The bond breaks occurs like this. Here also occurs like this. This zinc, it takes up one oxygen atoms and eliminated as zinc oxide. So we get RCHO and HCHO. So RCHO plus HCHO. So this reaction ozonolysis, it is used. So used to identify the position of carbon double bond. ನೋಡಿ ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟನೇ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಡಬಲ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದೇ ಈ ಓಝೋನ್ ಲೈಸಿಸ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ ಓಝೋನ್ ಲೈಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ carbonyl compounds. So maybe aldehyde or ketone. So depending on the nature of alkenes used. Or if we take more substituted alkenes, so RCHR. So it is subjected to ozonolysis followed by heating with water and zinc. So the bond breaks at the double bonded position and two oxygen atoms are introduced to the double bonded carbon atoms to form RCOR ketone and RCHO aldehyde. So RCOR ketone and RCHO aldehyde. So both ketones and aldehydes are formed by the ozonolysis of alkenes. So ozonolysis of alkenes gives generally carbonyl compounds. And also based on the number of products formed by the ozonolysis of alkenes, so which one of the following alkene is involved in ozonolysis reactions? The carbon atom of the carbonyl carbons of the products are joined, that leads to the formation of, that leads or to indicate the given alkenes. ನೋಡಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ರೆ, in this reaction, so if aldehyde and acetone is obtained, so look here, in ozonolysis reaction, acetaldehyde and acetone is the product. Acetaldehyde CH3CHO and CH3COCH3. So this is acetone and this is acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde and acetone are the products obtained by the ozonolysis of alkenes. So predict the following alkene involved in ozonolysis reaction. So that is possible only when the carbonyl carbons of both the carbonyl compounds are joined together. Carbonyl carbon is this one, CH3 C double bond OH. This is the carbonyl carbon. Similarly, in this compound, C double bond O. This is the carbonyl carbon. So here CH3, CS3. So joining of these two, joining of these carbonyl carbons, this results in the formation of ನೋಡಿ ಇವೆರಡನ್ನು ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇವೆರಡು ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ CH3 CH, look here, CS3 CH, then double bond C, double bond C, CH3 CS3. ನೋಡಿ ಎರಡು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಆಲ್ಕಿನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. This alkene is subjected to ozonolysis followed by heating with zinc and water. So look here, oxygen atoms are introduced at the double bonded carbon atoms. In that case, we get CH3CHO acetaldehyde and CH3CO CH3 acetone. By joining the carbonyl carbon of the products obtained in ozonolysis reaction, it is very easy to identify the given alkene. Clear? So this is about ozonolysis reaction. Then oxidation of alkenes using a Bayer's reagent. Using Bayer's reagent. Oxidation of, fourth reaction, oxidation of alkene by using Bayer's reagent. Bayer's reagent is alkaline. So 1% alkaline potassium permanganate, alkaline KMNO4 is called Bayer's reagent. When alkenes or CH double bond CHR, it is subjected to oxidation by using 1% KMNO4 in basic medium. So two OH groups are attached to adjacent carbon atoms or double bonded carbon atoms to form RCH OH bond CHOH R. So these are called in general glycols, or this is also called vicinal diols. Vicinal diols or dihydroxy compounds are formed, dihydric alcohols are formed, or in general they are called glycols. Two hydroxyl groups are attached to adjacent carbon atoms. So which one of the following compound is formed by the oxidation of alkene with Bayer's reagent? So 1% alkaline solution of potassium permanganate is called Bayer's reagent. So Bayer's reagent, it is used as the presence of double bond. It is used to identify the presence of double bond. But ozonolysis reaction, that is used to identify the position of double bond. So this is used for the presence of carbon-carbon double bond. So whether the double bond is present or not in the given alkene, that is tested by using Bayer's reagent. So it is used as a test for unsaturation. But ozonolysis reaction, that is used to identify the position of double bond. But Bayer's reagent, that is used to confirms the presence of double bond. So whether the double bond is present or not, it is used as a test for unsaturation. The compound is unsaturated or not, that can be tested by using Bayer's reagent. So when alkenes react with Bayer's reagent to form glycols. Then another one is the oxidation of alkenes by using acidified potassium permanganate solution. Strong oxidizing agent. Fifth property, oxidation of alkene using acidified potassium permanganate. Alkenes are subjected to oxidation in the presence of acidified potassium permanganate solution to form the carboxylic acids and ketones. Ketones are not further oxidized. If formic acid is obtained in the reaction, that is oxidized. So or CH double bond CH2, it is subjected to oxidation by using KMNO4 in acid medium. So bond breaks occurs like this. So two oxygen atoms are introduced, RCOOH, carboxylic acid, RCOOH, and in this reaction HCOOH, but it is oxidized. Formic acid is oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. So in this reaction, if formic acid is formed, so further oxidizes to carbon dioxide and water, but not ketones. Ketones are not further oxidized. If formic acid is obtained in the oxidation of alkenes, that is further oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. Or if we take RCH double bond CHR, it is subjected to oxidation to form. ನೋಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತಲ್ಲಿ 2 + 1 3, 3 + 2 5. So 5 oxygen atoms are required. So 1 for oxygen, 2 for carbon. Say this alkene, it is subjected to oxidation. So the bond breaks occurs like this. So 2 oxygen atoms, here also 2 oxygen atoms, 4 diacid oxygen atoms are required for the oxidation of this alkene. So in the presence of acidified potassium permanganate solution, we get RCOOH plus RCOOH, carboxylic acids. Or if RC or double bond CHR, it is subjected to oxidation to form. So bond breaks occurs like this. One oxygen atom is introduced at this double bonded position, RCO or ketone. So RCO or plus. So here 2 oxygen atoms are required. Totally 3 oxygen atoms are required per molecule of alkene. So the same oxidizing agent is preferred. In this case, we get a mixture of carbonyl compound and carboxylic acids. So these ketones are not further oxidizes. So this is about the oxidation of alkenes. Clear? ಈಗ ಸೊ ಉಳಿದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರೇಷನ್ ಐಸೋಮೆರಿಸಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅವನ್ನ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸನ್ನು ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.